investor day, the management projected 5 to 7% revenue growth over the next 4 years as it slowly shifts to subscription software. That may not seem like much, but it was enough to sort of cheer up investors a little bit and analysts. Chipotle, Piper raised the price target to 2,600 from 2,235. Chipotle CMG, which is was trading around the 50-day line the last couple of days, or the 10-week line. And that's what I have on that front. And so I guess it's right around the time to take a look at how the market is doing. And Chris, what do you think of the market? Nice move yesterday. And
yeah, well, actually it did, on the positive side, it was exactly, the right thing. It, shook out some folks by undercutting both the prior day's lows, and then, mid-morning started coming back and closed it was almost an outside day. It got a little short of that. So we'll see today, futures were up and then they fell. And actually that's probably a good thing for the market to open a little weaker, and then we'll see if it can shake it off and move higher. So the action was really good. A lot of things that just looked okay in the morning ended the day looking very strong. And another one, you had mentioned Copart, and that was a nice move as well. So, this is how it's been. We have these pullbacks. This one was not quite as steep, so maybe we're not going to get as much oomph out of it. But if it, obviously, if we can take out yesterday's high and close above there, that would be very positive.
Gotcha. And so, Scott, what do you think are you feeling a lot more confident? Did you step in quite a bit yesterday, or did you just stay with what you had?
Reluctantly long. I feel like the market's going to go down. Like all my instincts say that this market is going to go down, but it doesn't go down. So, we went down 6 days in a row, but it was like a total of 1.5% or something. And so I don't know, because I feel like this is a market that doesn't want to go down. My instinct is that's right when it does go down, right? Based on 25 years of trading. But the tape is strong. The stocks hold up. There are pockets of weakness. You mentioned FIGs. MRVI did not act well on the announcement of a secondary. Both those stocks should have held better than they did. I know secondaries are going to hit stocks a little bit, but the reaction to the secondaries was very weak. That bothered me a little bit, and I was in MRVI, so that caused me to reduce exposure as well. So I don't know what to think, Ed. Honestly, I'm in, but not over my skis, because I feel like I could easily be out in a day or two.
Gotcha. Well, there's nothing wrong if you're not feeling sure to not, to recognize that and not just and say, I'm going in full bore,
Yeah.
And so Justin, what sectors are you looking at? There was a whole, steel and energy was strong yesterday. Growth has done reasonably well, at least the traditional growth, maybe not the speculative growth, but
well, yeah, after this morning, I might look at IT, just because putting together my own monitors was a pain in the. But certainly, yesterday, oil and energy and materials, financials, industrials, those were the leading sectors. But I'm with Scott. It's one of those things where the NASDAQ had only come down I think 2.1% or something like that. I was hoping for a pullback to the 50-day moving average line, but you have to adjust with what the market is doing. But to your point, Ed, this doesn't have to be an all or nothing thing, right? You don't have to just go either I'm 0 or I'm 100%, and there's nothing in between. And this is why even when there's a follow-through day, we kind of put our money to work slowly and let the market tell us when we're right. Yesterday certainly was a nice change in that we had all of these strong opens that closed weak, and it looked like at the beginning of the day that's what was going to happen yesterday. But it certainly before midday hit, it had already turned. It was already getting to new highs, unlike any of the days before, and it closed so strong. So yeah, I doled out a little bit more money, and now it's a matter of seeing if there's any follow through on that follow up strength to dole out more money, or if I start hitting stop losses, then boom, I just start backing away. It's that easy. I let the market tell me what to do, because look, my opinion doesn't mean that much. I can think I know what happens, but ultimately it's up to the market, and it's my job to react to it.
Gotcha. And it was just showing yesterday's action on the Qs, like it didn't, it had sort of a iffy start, not sure where it was going to go, but then, then it really took off, because the NASDAQ actually sort of lagged, it was sort of actually the laggard, and then it caught up.
Right.
At first it was the Dow, but it's like, so there was definitely some positive action out there. As we had talked about the SPY, rebounded right off where you would want it to, off the 50-day line. And
I should have specified it was the NASDAQ that I was kind of thinking of, that difference. So I'm glad you pointed that out.
And IWM, which, the Russell, it sort of bounced off the 200-day, around that area, and closed above its 50-day line. It's just sort of there. Going to move over to, Chris, I'm going to start off with you, but I'm going to start with Copart, because that one seems to be moving, and, it seemed to be moving a little bit more. So now it flirted right with the buy point and got this moving above it today.
Yeah, I mean, for me, yesterday was the day to act on it, and in fact, we put it on Swing Trader.
Stock of the day,
yeah. So breaking that trend line, and it closed well. Now it's falling on today, so that's, good. We'll have to see how it handles itself the rest of the day, but this is not going to change your life, probably, this stock, but it is, you can see how you can get a good 10-15% gain out of it at times. So it's more of a trading stock for me, although it is a long-term leader if we go to a monthly.
Well, and that's the thing about long-term leaders, is they're slow. They're, it's like watching paint dry. And again, when you look at that long-term chart, you're like, how did I miss this huge winner? But then you look at the daily and you're like, oh my gosh, how would you ever stay in this slow poke?
It's the conundrum of the market.
Gotcha. I'm going to go over to PAG, which is one of your stocks, Chris. I thought I'd just go, wanted to start off with,
are they his stocks, or are they my stocks? I thought you had.
Yeah, they're our stocks. How's
okay,
that,
very good.
Just because some of these are moving, so I wanted to get to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, that's moving a lot more than it was in pre-market. So, and this is when it just was going, sideways so long and tightening up, and it wasn't, it closed the day nicely. Again, all about the early entries, so it makes me nervous that it's in the buy zone. I would much rather buy it before it's in the buy zone.
Gotcha. I just want to point out a few others just to show that this is a group that's doing pretty well today. AutoNation is crossing a 50-day line. You could probably, bend a trend line to make it work for you. CarMax moving up. So these are things, and that one has earnings in a couple of weeks. So the group is moving. I think there had been a pullback. So I think that even though used car prices may have leveled off, they are so high, and new car production, maybe it'll start coming back later this year a little bit, but it's going to be a long time before that normal balance is there. Used car prices are going to remain very high. I'm going to get back to some of the other things, but I want to get to some things that are sort of breaking out some more. Hey, Scott, Palantir. What do you think of Palantir here?
I am not in Palantir. It looks good. I can't argue. I like how it's gotten a lot tighter and smoother than the way it traded before. The way it traded before